Brett Perigo, tonight's second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boards over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with and talk to. I really like them.
How are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, I'm talking here. You know who you're talking to? Macho Man! I'm on my way to Monday Night Raw.
How do I want to answer the second one?
Your choice.
It's a trap.
I feel like it is. I feel like he's setting up fights in the front stretch. Is what he's trying to do.
Speedway. We've got Devin Gordon with us.
At Keen Motorsports Shop here with Kyle Keen.
Sitting here with Sean Keen. We're going to talk a little bit about racing history.
Yep. What's going on? October 7th, Monday, October 7th. I am Jimmy here with Chris and Jay-Z. We are the Turn 2 Terribles. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, as always. We got a little bit to talk about tonight. We're going to recap the entire National Open weekend here, and preview the newly added Outlaw Day at Lincoln this upcoming Saturday. Thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, we see some of you regulars in here. Randy, what's going on, man? Matt, what's going on? Brad, we had a great time with him. We're going to talk about that and a little bit out some other stuff later on in the show. What's going on, my cousin Andrew? What's going on? Race cars, baby. Let's go. Matt Trace, and evening, gentlemen. Thanks again for being at the Chili Cook-Off Saturday. Show was great and was a fun time. We had a blast, that's for sure. We're going to get into that a little bit. I think we're going to break. We have more than just a sprint car race to break down. We have the foot race to break down a little bit too. We got to go over it. We got to recap that. So, but gentlemen, how are you guys doing?
Tired.
Man, great. Yeah, I was tired and I got a whole bunch of sleep last night. Thought I was getting sick, but turns out sleep is good for you. So I feel better. I'm excited to recap some of this stuff because going back and looking at kind of that live show and watching it over the stream, the audio sucked, and we'll have to figure that out for the next time. So there's a lot of things that y'all may have missed that we'll get into a little bit about. What we experienced at that. That was a first for us, kind of, especially in that format. We've done a live show once, very different, but a lot of fun stuff to recap from our experience there at the Williams Grove Chili Cook-Off, and then what a weekend. Each day had its own stories to tell, and one day carried into the next. What an interesting weekend for sure. I'm excited.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot to talk about, and before we get into the Chili Cook-Off, we'll get into all that later. I think we should cover the stuff on track first because we We tried to talk about it a little bit during the live on Saturday about what the stuff that happened on Friday, but Friday was a weird one. So let's get right into it. I'm going to pull this up. Okay, here we go. So night one goes to Buddy Kofoid, and this was a weird one because it was run on Saturday afternoon. The feature was, at least. Got fogged out Friday night. It was very, very strange. I don't think anybody expected it. We knew it was probably going to get foggy, but usually that fog doesn't roll until like early in the morning. It did really kind of mess up the mojo. I agree with you, Casey. Fog messed up the mojo for sure. So before we go into what happened on Saturday, let's talk about what happened on Friday. So 58 cars, huge car count. One of the biggest. I mean, they usually get about 50 cars for this race every year, but this was on the larger side in recent memory, which was good to see. It's good to see the National Open get the respect it deserves as one of the crown jewels in all the country, and getting a high car count. That being said, it took forever to do time trials and get through everything. I don't think we didn't have a heat race until like 9 o'clock. There was 2 non-qualifiers because of the format. And hey, listen, I'm not saying they could have did any better or any worse, to be honest. I don't know what you do in their situation there. They did all that they could, really. And then the fog started rolling in. It started rolling in probably, I would say probably, maybe it was like heat race number 3. It started to come down onto the front stretch. And as the cars got moving, it seemed like it would raise up. In the back, and from us being on ground level on the back stretch, you could still see the track just fine. It was more up above. But then as that race started going, and then they got through heat race number 4, they had a little bit of a break before the C main, and that's when it started really getting thick all over. They got through the C main. They had the dash guys go out for hot laps before they're just to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and sounded like a resounding thumbs down from all the drivers because we were standing on the backstretch and you could even see the Williams-Grove sign and going into turn 3. It was getting that thick, and no vortex theory effect was gonna push that fog up and away. So they made the right call they went into a holding pattern and then made the call to push the rest of the day to Saturday afternoon, which ended up being really good because it made the racing so much better. But let's stick on Friday. What were your thoughts on how that was handled? Do we think they should have cut it earlier? I could see them why they were trying to get through at least through the B main so they could just run kind of like last year, just run the A main, maybe with not have to worry about rain checks and run a whole second program. What were your thoughts on that? Can't hear you, Jizzy.
I'm muted. Chris, were you awake for this? You want me to go first?
Go ahead. I saw you talking, so we're trying to.
I was asking you if you wanted to go first. Go ahead, buddy.
I mean, what are you gonna do differently? You can't control. You talk about you can't control the weather. The fog comes in. They waited as long as they could. What are you gonna do? It's bad luck. You're gonna have that sometimes.
Yeah, I think they did it right. I mean, I don't think they really could have done anything differently to make it better or worse. It was out of their control. The only thing that would have helped is if they had a consistent cars on the racetrack and going. When Zach Hampton had his first ballpark trip, that didn't help. That was a long break.
Yes.
They got the C main in, and I don't think it was even really great for the C main, to be honest, but they got it done, and it really mixed things up. I was standing at the entrance to turn 1 for the heats, and it was like the front stretch was pretty bad at times. And every time they would run them, I could see it going across the racetrack, but the backstretch would clear up very, very quickly. It was pretty nice. But in entrance turn 1, then cleared up. But as soon as the entrance to turn 1 got good, it rolled in off turn 4 really bad. And it really closed in on 3 and 4 pretty bad. And those guys gave it a shot. They did what they could. And, I don't blame them for going to a holding pattern, but I think enough of us knew that it was not going to get better until
there's
the
no
morning.
shot.
Once it's there, it's there. Unless some big weather event was going to come through and knock it and push it all out, and that wasn't expected. So, it was what it was, and um, I love that they did 4 o'clock. I love that they did
Same.
early afternoon versus after. With having a dash, a full B main, and a full A main to run, you couldn't have done it after. You would have had guys potentially tear up equipment during the 75 grand to win race, not even have a chance to make the A main for the other race. I guess vice versa. TJ Stutz is an example here, but they had a lot of stuff to get done. So I'm glad that I love everything. I like the decisions they made. I don't think they could have done it any differently.
Yeah.
I applaud them for doing what they could. If this is a 24 car field, there's a lot of different decisions potentially made than a 56, 58 car fields.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
they did it. In my opinion, they did it right.
I agree. I think it was pretty transparent that they were trying to at least get through the B main. Try to at least get through that and be like, all right, we know the fog's coming. We'll run that feature tomorrow. Kind of like how they had to do last year with the rain. Um, you could kind of feel that vibe as that they were trying to do that. And I applaud them for that because you don't want to make people have to come back and clear the grandstands and do all that. And so I get it. I know there's been some talk around just kind of through social media and watch it, just kind of some people saying like, hey, maybe just save the drivers from themselves, make that call a little bit earlier. But I think they did the right thing. I don't think they did anything too unsafe. The track was so locked down, and we knew it was going to be heavy. First of all, it's always heavy. It's always fast. That Friday night of a 2-day show with the Outlaws, it seems like it doesn't matter National Open or whatever. But with the amount of rain and moisture that they had, that sun didn't come out because when we got there on Friday, it was cloudy, kind of foggy, hazy till 3:30 in the afternoon. And then the sun kind of came out a little bit, and then obviously what happened. So we knew it was going to be heavy. There was clumps of mud being thrown all over the place. Probably 50 pounds of mud on these cars by the time they were done running just hot laps. So speed too is a little bit of a factor. But yeah, I agree. I think they made the right decision, and honestly, them pushing it to 4 o'clock made for one of the best William Grove races we've seen in a little while. To be honest, I mean, in terms of outlaw races, I think what passes here. So let's get into that. Chase Dietz was on the pole for this one. He started on the pole at the dash. Looked really fast all weekend. We're going to be talking about him a little bit here as we go through the results. He finishes third. There was a little of a little dust up between Brent Marks and Gio Scelzi, which sent Gio Scelzi out to the front stretch parking lot just about. Good thing there was a fence there. What are your thoughts about that incident? Because that was a big deal.
He got fed a right rear. It's hard for me to say. I'm not in a driver's seat, but Brent threw that slider from quite a ways back, and to his credit, he really was clear. Gio had to have seen him. I can't tell you that I would have done anything different if I was in Gio's shoes. I would have thought maybe his momentum. He had to have thought his momentum would get him up beside and pass by the time he got there. And whether Brent misjudged his slide and hoped he would be completely clear, or he was never intended to clear and know he would slide up to end up behind him. Whether Gio said, "Hey, I'm sending this either way," or thought he would be clear, it didn't work out in any of those ways from any of them, and it made it look like a pretty damn dirty move from Brent. But I don't think it was ever his intention to think Gio would end up there and that would be the way that went. I really don't. But it did, and it was scary, and thankfully Gio was okay. So definitely not, on the surface looking at it, it's not a good look from Brent for sure. And he got a lot of hate on the internet for it, but it just seems that it would be out of character for he was just as much at risk of tearing up his race car doing that if that was intentional, right? Like, why would you risk tearing up your race car for the big show to do a move like that for third, second? That just didn't seem make a whole lot of sense. And I thought at first glance at live, I thought that maybe he was upset with Gio because of what happened in 1 and 2, but I looked at it and it was no big deal in 1 and 2. Like there was nothing that I could see that would have been like, hey, this was moved out of retribution or anger or anything. It just, I just think it was one of them deals, and it did not work out well. And it was scary. I mean, that was a perfect, like that thing was just hopped right up over that fence like it was done a million times. It looked so easy, natural for a car to do that. And we don't see that often or ever in that way. But thankfully that extra little fence was back there to keep him out of the parking lot and any further damage or risk of injury, thankfully. So
I don't think he actually ever went
great.
end. I don't think he actually ever went end over end, did he? I think he just hopped. Maybe he went over one time. I don't remember seeing him.
He did when he was out there, I think, when he got out over.
Because it didn't look like there was a ton of damage really on his car, from what I saw. You know, so it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just two guys being aggressive and a little bit of a racing deal, and just two guys that are trying to go for the same real estate. And you know, could Brent maybe not have thrown it so aggressively? Yeah. Could Gio maybe have backed out? Maybe. Yeah. But Chris, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's hard racing at this level. They're all close, so close on speed. Doesn't look good, like Jeremy said, but you're going to take your shots when you have them because it is hard to pass that time of night. I don't know. You know, Brent's made aggressive moves before, whether it be switching lanes. Someone the other week on the show talked about how he's really good at knowing where your car is supposed to be, so he makes sure his car is there. You'll have that, and it could easily have been the other way around too. Gio has made moves that are risky like that before too. So,
what this really comes down to for me is that surface created this level of risk that we don't typically see, right? Like it's stay in line, lap traffic, make a move, and go, and it's gripped up or it's around the bottom or it's whatever. This was tricky and it was difficult, and it was, you know, that slick through the middle to a cushion. Like, can you really be upset when this is all what we've wanted? Like we want every damn week from Williams Grove, and we don't get it often. There's been some good racing this year. Don't get me wrong. I'm not shitting on that, but like everybody for 2 days now has been clamoring for late afternoon races from Williams Grove now. Like there's for good reason. This was an amazing surface, and it did created what we saw. So yeah, I hate it. I don't ever want to see cars torn up. Nobody does, but man, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, you saw really good racing action, man. I mean, it was just by the time they were done with hot laps, I think just for the dash, it was like already double as wide as it was the night before. You know what I mean? Just it was a really, really good surface. And I'm always one for, I love daytime, late afternoon races, whether it's a Friday, Saturday, something, whatever. Yeah, just I was go ahead.
How did TJ get upside down? That looked big too.
So that was like a racing deal to me. People are gonna hop on Freddie pretty much about that one, but it was kind of because that was a big wreck. That was a pretty.
It was a weird night.
JZ, you got a huge picture of that of TJ.
Friday was weird enough with the fog. You have poor Zach Hampton flipping out of the park. It just kind of set the tone for the weekend. It's so much weird things. And as we did the Saturday program, Darren Pittman, just same thing. But just kind of forgot how to assess. When I saw that picture, that was a big one.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty big. He took a big ride. I don't know what started it, and all we're going to hear for sure is Freddie did it, right? And I can't say that because I heard other people say that there was another car that was kind of doing some weird, goofy things on entry to 3, and it ended up causing what we saw with Freddie and TJ. Like that wouldn't have happened if this third car. So yeah, Danny Sams parked it sideways. TJ had to get on the binders. Freddie got in TJ. So
I don't really put any blame on anybody on that one, to be honest. I just think it was exactly like what Tyler just said.
Product of one of those deals, and the only thing people are going to see is
Freddie hitting.
Listen, if he had his hand and part in it, then he deserves whatever he gets. But you can't even take the word of what people say anymore, because all season long I've heard this kind of stuff, and I'm like, you're like clearly blind in the hatred for that 8 car and any other car. You can go either direction here. But I think if you don't have an emotional opinion about the driver, you could step back and go, okay, was that really something that shouldn't have happened, or was it a product of something residual from something else? And what Tyler said there is kind of what I've heard, was that Danny Sams sort of created what the end result was, in a sense, not on purpose, but it ended up that way because of it. So, but it was big. TJ was very, very upset in the pits. Not
Understandably
at
so.
anyone that I could tell, just in general, just tore up a
Mhm.
great race car to now have to do all kinds of things to go race for the big one.
What
Right?
I believe,
Like,
what I heard on over when they were Dirt Vision on the night 2 section part, when it was hard to hear, but I thought I heard them say something about that was TJ's Williams Grove car. He's had so much success in this year, and then to go to the main night 2, he had to go to his Port Royal car, which isn't set up quite the same. So he just it tore up a great race car that he's had so much success this year at Williams Grove. So yeah, I could see why he was upset. You know what I mean? Just not just for wrecking, but for wrecking such a great car.
I think I saw they had to bring an emergency trailer to get that car even to the track.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they didn't have it there. They had to go get it.
So just wild.
Marie, wasn't that Sam's first time at the Grove? No, he was in town earlier this year. Early in the season, he was at Williams Grove. I think he ran BAPS as well. There was a weekend where he was in town, I think, for the whole weekend. But pretty much, I mean, 58 cars and it's your second trip, it's your first trip. Like, effectively, it was your first trip there. But
And
yeah,
he looked good. He looked good. He was impressive to me all weekend. For a guy that doesn't have a lot of laps there, he looked really, really sporty. Even, the second night, I think he only got to the B main or maybe C main, but he still looked fast and aggressive. You know what I mean? For a guy that has limited laps there. Let's get to a couple more. There's a lot of good comments flying around in here by some of our listeners here. Brad even said Giovanni caught one of those posts sticking up, which could have been much worse. Tyler said Casey Kane saw it all happen and said to us under red, he remembered doing that all too well in the same spot. We've seen him go out of turn 4 pretty wickedly, not once but twice, right? I mean, once a while ago and then once kind of recently. Craig Dunn, our Aussie friend, are you boys recovered from the posse no-show at the Natty? Listen here, buddy. If the Outlaws wouldn't be wrecking our guys, we'll get to that in a little bit. Maybe we would have had a guy up there. Kenny Edkin went and got TJ's backup car. Shout out Kenny Edkin. Sam's looked good all year. Definitely got to be one to watch in the next few years. I agree. Let's go at Tenerelli. Yeah, so just I love the surface on Saturday afternoon. It kind of made me want that for Saturday night, obviously. But I did have a bet with Tyler Shell, and I'm calling him out right here. I called him out in chat. I got to send it, and I do got to send on my Venmo. But I had a $20 bet that it would not rubber up at all night, and it didn't. They did a good job of doing the track prep to get everything ready to go for the Saturday portion with another 56 cars, and still was a racy track, but it never rubbered up. Any more thoughts from night 1? Zach Hampton's deal in turn 2. I mean, we're obviously going to talk about it for night 2 too, but on Friday night, that's a tough one. I mean, he went right through a billboard. Luckily, he was okay. I think that billboard slowed him down a little bit before he went down that pretty steep embankment drop on the back side of the guardrail there. The car just hopped right on over.
He did say that one was all soft landings, though, so that's good.
Yes.
Yeah, if there's ever going to be one, you get known for being ballpark yourself. That one was going to be the one you take. That's some soft landing. So definitely not good. At the end of the day, we had 2 nights of racing, and we had 3 cars leave the ballpark. And that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
So one of those, and listen, we went through this last year at Williams Grove with all the weird stuff that happened at Williams Grove. They went through the sign last year and tore the sign down in turn 3. We had the Justin Whittle turn 1. We had another car, winless car, leave the middle 1 and 2. The year before, Brent knocked down the Hoosier sign outside of 3 and 4. So not the first and not the last, unfortunately. And we don't like it, we hate it, but we're not. We can only be fans and watch, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. But listen,
Brent Marks one still felt personal.
I'm telling you that I want to see more day racing at Williams Grove. Not
Agreed.
February 37 degrees and windy day racing. I want to see some good day racing. If they can figure out what they did and hit the magic button for that kind of what we saw, let's do it, because it was awesome pictures. It was good. It wasn't overly dusty. It created a great cushion. It made these guys work. That's as high as I've seen guys in 1 and 2 in forever at Williams Grove. Give me all of that.
Yes.
Let's go. But
I think with even though it was 70-some degrees, it's still not like a hot, humid 75 degrees like in August, maybe. You know what I mean? It's like a different, if that makes any sense. Like it's just, and with them being able to do this in the fall, late afternoon, you see this great golden hour picture that you have of Buddy Kofoid there. There was still, by the time they went out there at 4 o'clock, there was a lot of sun. It helped widen the track out, but by the time they got to the feature, there's a lot of shade around the track then too, and so it wasn't just the sun beating on it the entire time. You know what I mean? Late afternoon, man, give me that. I'm all for it.
Yep, absolutely. So congrats to Buddy Kofoid, one of the hottest drivers on the circuit the last month. And man, goes out and dominates this race, really. Took control of it and was gone.
Yeah.
After that late restart, the last 10, 15 laps, he was just in a league of his own.
So yeah.
Good for him, for sure. Car looked phenomenal. It was fun to watch when a car's working that good against Darren Pittman, Chase Dietz, and Brent Marks behind you. Man, great, unbelievable. So
yeah.
Good
Chase got a bad initial start and lost the lead real quickly, but he ran up there the entire time and he looked good. I want to give a shout out to Brock Zierfoss too. That was a good top 10 run. We haven't seen them run in top 10 in the Grove in quite a while. I got his front wing this weekend. Got to talk to him a little bit too, so that was pretty cool. I'm a known Brock fanboy, so that's cool. Macri, McFadden, those two guys looked good all weekend as well. Let's go to night 2, where we got our ass handed to us a little bit. Carson Macedo, congratulations. This is the second National Open, am I correct? Right? This is the second one. Second in 3 years or whatever, 4 years. I can't remember if I know Chris said he definitely picked him last week. I thought I did too, maybe, but I can't remember.
I threw it out there because I was refusing to go with gravel. But I don't know. I think he's always been good at Winners Grove in some way, even back in the Larson car days, right?
Yeah, he was.
Because he won the opener one year.
He's just never been consistently good. He can go and win a race like this, and then be 15th another night. You know what I mean? But I mean that's Williams Grove for you. To be honest, that could be anybody.
Was Macri starting on the pole and not really ever being a factor in that race? He was there, but he wasn't. I don't think anyone thought he was going to win that race once we got green.
Yeah. There was a lot of hype. We found, he was starting on the pole, and there was a lot of all right, let's go. I haven't actually heard that many cheers for Macri in a long, long time. Maybe ever, and you're not going to hear for a long, long time again, maybe. And kind of shit the bed. Our best, I don't want to say shit the bed because he still got fifth, and he still ran well all weekend and was fast. I shouldn't say it that way. We mean in terms of.
I think he would probably use those terms.
Mm-hmm.
because you can't think they're overly satisfied with fifth when you start on the pole and have the speed that cars had. There's no way that that team's happy with that.
Right.
Yeah, they missed it a little bit, and it looked like it from pretty early on that Carson just had better. He just had more speed. There, no matter what Carson did, he was just faster. You kind of hope Macri was saving some and was going to get there late, and it just never got. It just never happened. They missed it just a little bit. So it sucks, and definitely an ass kicking there. But listen, it's not like we've dominated Williams Grove the last couple of years in throughout any season lately. So since Brent was sweeping Williams Grove a couple years back, it's not really been a whole lot of posse dominance. TJ got his win, but go back and look through the top fives of some of those top tens.
Just Lance and Brent.
Yeah. The big controversy and things that probably have PA Posse fans pissed off a little bit, or I know we have some big Sheldon Hodenshield fans in the chat too. But Sheldon Hodenshield and Chase Dietz get together. Chase Dietz, I mean, and this isn't for just wherever. Like this is in the top 3. These guys were like Chase looked legitimately good. Like he could, maybe if he gets in the lap traffic or whatever, like he had something for Macedo, I believe. Sheldon goes and makes a move into turn 3 4, which, by the way, the track surface for the Saturday night portion I thought was really good. It was a little rough, it was a little choppy, but it was wide and you can make moves. And of course it was fast, but it wasn't like it wasn't Friday fast. Sheldon makes a move going into 3 and 4 and kind of just gets a little sideways. He missed a corner, and Chase basically had nowhere to go. And Chase is the one that gets the worst end of it. Sheldon does a 360, but somehow keeps it going for a half a second until there's a red thrown, and then he stops. And he's somehow, the rule is he gets to keep his position. That's been the rule. Love it or hate it, that's the rule. But I still think, fine, that's the rule, whatever. I still think he's part of the contact. He should have went to the rear, whatever. But he was able to keep his spot, which ends up giving him kind of a shot here. He was there right at the end. Him, Sweet, McFadden, they were kind of right there in the same corner as Macedo, right at the end there, coming to the line. If they would have had a couple more laps, Macedo might lose this one. But what are your opinions on that deal? Hodenshield and Dietz.
I mean, rules are rule. I don't have to like it. I think Sheldon's been on the other side of this before. Shit happens, I guess. Sucks for Dietz for sure, but
yeah, I mean, this isn't anything different than if a guy roughs somebody up, spins him out, right?
Mm-hmm.
He created it, caused it, did it, and if they don't give him a penalty, he keeps the spot. Like, you don't just go to the back because you wrecked him unless you're told to. Is it any different here? No. But here's the thing, is the wording of it. I keep hearing the wording of going, because he did that, kept the wheels turning, he was not deemed to be a part of the accident. I hate the wording of it because that's the wording written. The wording is the worst wording ever because it wouldn't even be a yellow or a red if it wasn't for the 17.
Yes, exactly. He was the cause of it, to be honest.
So you can't tell me he wasn't a part of the accident. Like, he was the cause of the accident.
Yes.
The result was a wrecked race car. So they followed their rule book, but the rule is bullshit. Like, at the end of the day, they could have just said rough driving and sent him to the back, but they're never going to do that. That's not going to happen. It was dumb driving, not rough driving. He made a mistake, and another car paid for it, right?
Yeah.
So, again, we could even look at Brent's and do the same thing.
Say,
Brent
to
got
me,
to keep a spot. He didn't even spin out, right?
As far as I was going to go, same exact situation to me.
It's the same situation.
It's not.
So
I don't think Brent spun, though, did he?
Difference was Sheldon spun. I guess you could argue that.
Yeah.
But overall, he kept rolling. Red came out, and then he stopped. So,
right. So, at the end of the day, the rule was enforced correctly by their rule book. I just don't like it. No one likes it. And we obviously like it less because it's our guy, right? Like, it's even worse.
Yeah.
So, and it sucks. But, we don't know. It's all conjecture anyway, if he would have beaten Macedo or not, but you still don't want to have a P2 run taken from a guy. That's a lot different than finishing, where's he at on there?
He's
just
not
26.
even listed here.
So, yeah, we're
Yeah.
28 cars started. So
I think he was 26.
Yeah, 26.
yeah, there's that. So it sucks, man. It just sucks all around.
Yeah. Brad Sweet looked pretty good. He didn't really look that great in the first night. He looked really good here. McFadden was one that at one point I really thought, I'm like, oh, this is the guy. All right, here's the guy that has something for Macedo. For about 10 laps there in the middle of the race, right around the open red, I'm like, oh, here's the guy, like Chris Collinsworth would say. Here's the guy that has something. But Macedo ended up, once he got out there, he navigated lap traffic pretty well, and did what he needed to do to go and win that $75,000. A good run by Brent Marks. He looked pretty strong for a while. David Gravel was still kind of like a back half top 10 guy. But Justin Peck had he had 2 top 10s, both features as well. Bill Baylog started 26th. He took a provisional and got up to 9th, which was wild. He didn't just pass Donnie Schatz at one point. He blew the absolute fuck past him. like looked like on rails. Logan Schuart with the solid top 10. Tyler Courtney gets an 11th place after not even getting out of the C main for the Friday portion. Donnie was there. Chase Randall, as somebody said up here, got to go back to it. Matt Trey says, results didn't show, but Chase Randall stayed consistent both nights in the air and long 58. Well, 13th place, a place he doesn't really run at in a brand new car. That was pretty impressive. Skylar G, he was in the dash. Looked pretty fast. Brock Searfoss with another decent run. Danny Dietrich some people argued on Twitter that he should have. People who take a provisional shouldn't get the hard charger. It was really Danny Dietrich because he was the last guy. He started 24th and went up to 14th. I don't know. Cars are cars. I don't care if you take a provisional or not. To be honest,
Can I fire off a little bit on this?
Absolutely.
Because the people that want to go on there and say a provisional starter shouldn't be eligible for hard charger is the dumbest shit I've heard all week. And I've heard this a lot throughout the season. I don't care. They got in the feature. I don't care how they got in the feature. They ran the C main, the B main, the whatever main, and the provisional. They started here. They started there. I don't give a shit. They passed those race cars. Did you say they didn't earn the passes? Would they? These guys would gladly give up that stupid ass hard charger to start 7th. Believe me, they're not sandbagging to go earn a goddamn hard charger. So I don't know who why we get on our high horse about a provisional. How that they're not eligible for it. They went and earned their spot. Did 9th like he passed those cars. I'm sure he would have rather started 7th. Believe me. So to take it from the guy, didn't have a great night, got the car right, and passed all the race cars. We're going to take that from him. Get out of town. I don't give a shit who won the award. I disagree completely that they should be ineligible for it because they took a provisional. They started behind the cars that earned it. It's even harder. Your favorite guy who didn't win hard charger started in front of him. Like, get over yourselves. That's where I'm at. I'll leave it there.
Preach.
I just don't like provisionals. So
I don't know. I'm fine. I'm like at a place like Williams Grove, at a place like Port Royal, you could go and still start 30 of these cars easy. You know what I mean? And honestly, especially at a place like Williams Grove, where you want to get to lap traffic quicker to make it a better race. So I'm fine with provisionals, to be honest, just for that aspect.
Even for like a national, but make it a crown jewel. Knoxville doesn't have provisionals. Kings Royal doesn't have provisionals. No provisionals. Earn it.
Yeah, but we don't do. You don't. This is just a regular format. If National Open had its own format, where you're earning points through heats and stuff like that in order to get in, you know what I mean? Like, okay, sure, but you're just doing. It's a straight up single night regular Outlaw show, which has been one of my knocks a little bit about the National Open in the past, where it's kind of like you want this to be a crown jewel, but it's just a regular show with a bunch of cars. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be anything, but to your point there, I think if you want it to just be 24 cars, then you got to do something different with the format.
Yeah, I'm fine with extra cars. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out Chad Trout, first time making National Open without using a professional. They were
Hell yeah.
pretty happy about that. That's a big feat, right? You got almost 60 cars, and you made this heads up through your efforts of time trials and heats. So shout out to them. Yeah, Chase Randall was really good all weekend. Showed speed, but that's not surprising. He's shown speed before. Bill Baylog was awesome. The one that for me is like Brent. He seventh isn't a terrible finish. It's not what he wants, and he started 10th. So Brad Sweet was the one that was like, whoa. He was really, really good there. I think 12th to 3rd.
Yeah.
Logan looked pretty good, but some of the cars that really stood out to me definitely was Brad Sweet and Bill Baylog. I kept looking up at Baylog, and I'm like, shit, he's around different cars than he was the lot before it. I'm like, which way is he going? And I lost track of who was where. So, man, that's a hell of a run for him. No doubt about it.
KCK looked good. Brian Brown looked pretty decent. All these guys that you see on this top 24, they had to, they had to run pretty well throughout the night at some point to get into this, just to get in. You know what I mean? There was 2 less cars for the Saturday portion. Also for the Saturday portion, Zach Hampton went through the same exact spot somehow. I don't know how, but just jumped and went out the same exact spot 2 nights in a row. Unreal.
Well, he did tell us how, and he told us why. He said he told us in our Discord for that we have.
Shadow Zach.
He said that the night before he saw some extra grip out there, and he wanted to go check it out again on the second night. So he said I had to get back out there and check it out. So making a little fun of himself because we certainly made enough fun of him ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
but like when you look at them, it's like kind of bad luck. Like it biked on them. Like I don't know. What could just kind of I don't know, just bad luck or what?
Everybody else did it twice.
Right. I get it. Twice, so, I get it.
Anyway.
Couple comments here. A lot of people were, Baylog was the show. Absolutely, we agree with that. Marie saw a talk show this afternoon with an interview with Carson, and he knew he was there and had to adjust. He knew that his car was fast and he just needed to hit his marks. Jay-Z, I literally got in a 1-hour argument about this dumbest shit ever. That's when we were talking about the
hard
charger part. Aunt Faye says, hi, Chris. Jay-Z is my dad. What's up, Jimbo Slice? What's going on, Aunt? It was cool to see Kyle Spence out there running in the National Open, so that was pretty cool. Daniel Lee, I got to see Daniel on Friday night. Got to chop it up with him for a little bit. Sending more cars out of the ballpark this weekend at the Grove than the wild card games in the MLB.
Yeah, big facts.
But yeah, another good point Casey says here is no Rico, which was kind of odd, given his track record at Williams Grove. To not come out for the National Open was kind of strange, but I'm sure he has his reasons. Anything else from the racing part of Williams Grove here this past weekend?
I don't know if we're going to get into it or not, but there was some awards given out at the end of the night, throughout the night. Danny Dietrich, Diamond Series winner.
Yes.
Freddie Raymer was track champ.
Yep, we're going to get into that.
I believe you are.
Yep.
Good
point standings. There you go. Good job. Yeah, Freddie Raymer, pretty much just by taking qualifying laps to pass those last 2 nights, let him wrap up that title. His 2nd in a row and 4th of his career at Williams Grove. Over Troy Wagaman, TJ Stutz, Lucas Wolf, and Danny Dietrich. And Danny Dietrich takes that Hoosier Diamond Series. I think we talked about that last week. Maybe not. I don't remember. Over Troy, Freddie, Lucas, and TJ Stutz. Obviously, that 8, 27, and 11 car were like the cream of the crop at Williams Grove this year. Danny was always really good when he was there. Just wasn't there every week. And then Lucas was has had a pretty good year, sneaky. You know what I mean? Like compared to maybe a couple of years ago, where maybe he wasn't really in the top 5 in points. He was struggling a little bit. So he's had a solid year. But yeah, congratulations to Freddie, congratulations to Danny, and congratulations to Troy as well. I mean, second place in these things to those two guys is nothing to hang your head on. That's a really, really great, fantastic season for him. And TJ obviously had a very good season as well. Any other thoughts for the points?
Well, quickly, most improved, TJ Stutz.
Yes.
Rookie of the Year, Cody Hartlaw. And Sportsmanship Award to Bryn Goen. I saw those come across. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, shout out to those guys. Brent definitely deserves it. He showed up almost every week. He showed up almost every week this year. I think he was like Brent Goen.
Yeah, I'd have
maybe a couple he missed.
Yeah, there was one that car wouldn't fire. I think they did miss a couple with some parts. They had to rebuild a car after port wreck. But I mean, a lot of races in this year for sure for him. It's pretty cool.
A lot more than we're used to seeing from him. That's for sure. So that's good to see. Santos saying, checking in super late was super cool to bump into Jay-Z in the pits. Was a great way to end off the racing season for me personally. Was a great weekend, long day Saturday, but was filled with some badass racing, in my opinion, for the most part. In my opinion, for the most part, the Grove has given some sneaky good races. And yeah, we say that a lot. I think Friday kind of sucked, but we kind of knew what it was going to be going into it just because of all the moisture and everything that we had. And it was going to be hard to kind of widen that track out no matter what you did. But I think 7 times out of 10, Williams Grove has great racing. You know what I mean? It's hard to pass. It's a technical track. That's what it is. That's what we love it for. You're going to have bad nights. It's never always going to be a banger. So I think, but Williams Grove always seems to take probably the most criticism for quote unquote boring racing. And I don't think it's justified, because you got to appreciate the technicality that the track has and how hard it is to pass. But at the same time, you would like to see more passing opportunities at times. So I get it. But yeah, that's Williams Grove season wrapped up. Let's get into before we get into the chili cook-off, just real quick, let's look at the updated World of Outlaw points. Macedo closing that gap a little bit more with David Gravel, 86 points back. Donnie Schatz 176 points back. Buddy, Gio, Sheldon, Logan, Bill Baylog, Brock Zierfoss, and Landon Crawley round out the top 10. Now I think it's going to come down to probably the World Finals. It's going to take something for Gravel to really have to lose this, but Macedo's coming. He's been running really, really strong lately. The California swing was really good to him, and it was pretty big win here and big runs here for him. Now, Gravel was pretty consistent in the top 10, but was never really a threat to win. Macedo, obviously, with that big win, huge for him. And then, yes, we're going to get in the link in here shortly. So actually, what I want to do is I'm going to hide this. Brad says I'm still getting mud out of my tracks. So I want to our live stream on Saturday. Okay, we had an absolute great time at the chili cook-off. We had a great time all weekend, camping and everything. Always a great time at National Chili Cook-Off. We had a great time there. We apologize for the audio. Some people said they could hear it was a little in and out because we couldn't get the sound to go directly into the stream. We kind of had to pick it up with a separate mic. And we were also battling literally about 30 feet across from us was the EMMR auction going on. So we had battling PAs there for a little bit. So, it was kind of hard a little bit but after that, the audio kind of came a little bit, and we had a lot of people there watching. Obviously, they were waiting for the chili cook-off results, but it was good to see a lot of people, and we had a lot of fun with it. We had a lot of great people on. Chris Frank came on. We had Nasty Nate on, and I'm going to show that video here in a second, where brought Justin Peck on. It was cool to talk to him and meet him. We had Seth, Heather, and Billy Dietrich all on. Matt Campbell, and then we had the foot race. Am I missing anybody? We had Bert Wojcik on. He came on for a while. That was cool. It was just cool because you had all these people just kind of walking around having a good time. We were just trying to pull people in, and it was a great time there. So we know some of you guys that listen every week. You guys were there too, watching. We appreciate it. We will get the sound figured out next time for the guys for all you that couldn't make it. We'll get better at this, but we'll get better next time there for that. We'll figure out some audio issues, but the audio at the track was good for the people that were there. But for us, it was a little bit harder. But yeah, so I want to play this one video, just some of the stuff that maybe you missed. First, here's Justin Peck signing Nasty Nate's underwear.
Hey,
Underwear.
Justin. See why I got that megaphone? Look, so I'm gonna get him on your mic. We're gonna Justin. You got a minute for us? No, I'm out here. No. Listen, Chris, it's been fun. I will say though. Want to sign them? Get a sign? No, cardboard cut. Oh, somebody got a Sharpie? Yeah, I got one. I got one. I'll here. Maybe. This is gonna happen too. Here we go. Sharpie. Just Mexican sign Nate.
Eggplant underpants, dude.
Here we go. See, that's happening. Give it a smack! Good luck!
That was great. I got to figure out a way to clean up that audio a little bit, because that's going in the next intro for next year. That was one of my favorite T2T moments of all time. It was so funny. Let's talk about some of the interviews that we had. Let's start with Chris Frank. He had his car there. Kind of gave us some news that sold, pretty much done deal that he's selling his 358 and going full-time 410 racing next year. It's good to hear. He'll be at, sounds like he'll be at Williams Grove mostly as much as he can, and probably Lincoln. But about whatever could fit in their schedule. Then we had Nate come on. We talked to him for quite a while. Everybody's just laughing.
It was neat to kind of learn about Nate's background a little bit. Former military, retired and still dealing with some health issues from all that, and he kind of got into a little bit of that stuff, which led us into another conversation we're going to get into here, I think, at some point maybe. But it was cool to see Nate. He's obviously a character. He is every bit the same person that you see off camera than he is on camera. So that didn't change, and I was worried we would get canceled. But he kept it together for us. We didn't get canceled yet. So, thank goodness for that. But definitely an entertaining guy. He brought his own megaphone to an event that had two audio, speakers going, and he was louder than both of us, the auction and us combined, probably.
Yeah, he was. He came. I think the guy from the EMMR came over at one point and yelled at Nate, really, because you're like, give us 10 minutes to finish.
He's like, I'm trying to do an auction over here. But had a great time with Nate, and he's the one that yelled at Justin Peck to come over. We didn't I didn't even see Justin Peck. We were sitting there talking, and I didn't even see he was standing there. And Nate's like, Justin Peck, come over here. And I'm like, what if this guy doesn't want to do this? Like, holy shit, right? But no. Justin Peck was great. That was a great conversation. I did later in the pits thank him. He had a quick minute, and I did thank him for for stopping by. Kind of didn't have an option, so he kind of just. So I thanked him for that, but that was super cool to get to chat with him for a minute.
Yeah, for sure, Justin. It was pretty cool to sit down with Justin for a little bit and, just kind of talk about how his season went and how he's feeling about his situation and everything. And he ended up he had 2 top 10s, so I still say we have just this good effect on people. Not that he wouldn't have did it on his own, but hey, whatever. I'll take them where we can get them. And then the foot race. Let's go into the foot race. I did cut up a quick video, and this was so much fun. So
Logan Rumsey was.
By explaining the surprise entrant.
Yeah, so we did end up getting Logan Rumsey into the mix here, which worked out because I had 2 of the hot chips. So that meant there was going to be 2 losers, so they had to do them. So
Seth and I got framed.
Seth says I'm here for this part and this part only. Want to give a shout out to Dakota Kuhn too here. It was kind of doing our pre and post foot race interviews here. He was having a good time. But yeah, we brought Logan. I don't even know how did Logan get it. Me and Jeremy were talking, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, Logan's gonna get in this. So, but yeah, let's take a look.
They don't ever see you run, but how come I see you run every Saturday night at Lincoln to fix people's shit?
The people's stuff that I'm fixing is usually yours, so that's why I'm running.
That's only once, and that was because it's a TTG I got it.
Yeah, so obviously the mic's cutting out a little bit
Now
here.
we got a foot race.
Come on, Seth, stretch.
All right, let's go.
People are coming in and out.
A surprise entrant: Logan, Seth Dietrich, Logan Rumsey, and Chris Lynn from the show. So we're gonna do our best to keep them on camera here. They're gonna run from there. Yeah, Rumsey's in. So they're gonna run from there to this line right here. Hey, get away from the start-finish line. We're gonna do our best here to.
Second flag would be.
This is the start. That's the finish line. So we can kind of have it like who finishes first. And get these cars out of here.
Hey, listen, hey, come on. Come on. Right here. Hot chip. 2 losers got to do this.
I even went over to you guys to make sure that you guys all understood.
They don't have to eat it. All right. Megan's going to give them the go. We're going to watch these goofballs try to.
Really should have done the gummy bear again.
Man, Chris. Now let's pause it. Let's pause it a little bit. Let's go back. Now, from my point of view, at this point, right here. Okay, cool. You're
Seth jumped the start.
Seth might have jumped to start a little bit, but it didn't matter
because Logan Rumsey's fast as shit.
And then, so what's your excuse, Chris?
I'm old as shit.
Oh, now you're old as shit.
I've always been old as shit.
Look at them gap you, dude.
You're like packed in right there, right here.
I don't think
where he lost a cylinder right here.
Look at Logan looking back at you guys. He's like, "Oh, I got this, no problem."
He did the Kyler Murray peace sign right there, about halfway.
Look at Seth is running so hard, and he still lost.
Probably right. It is.
Logan Rumsey.
Probably is Dan Dietrich. He's probably right.
Chris third. Go. Wow. Yeah, maybe drinking for 48 straight hours was a bad idea.
I like the armchair quarterback thing. They are. Neither one of those 2 monkeys can even make it halfway down the course.
Nor did I threaten to beat someone for 4 months and then do that.
Well, if we was on
you bullied him into this race.
She should be running
all
for
year long, and then
so I want to make a point right here. The hot chip challenge here. So Chris did on Friday. He lost to Tyler Shell playing cornhole, and we also had these 2 hot gummy bears. Chris took it like a champ. He ate it because, of course, he lost that too. He took it like a champ. So I think he was underestimating the chip because the chip is hotter. So much that they give you a glove. And you see Seth here, no glove, no love. He's putting the glove on like a smart person
Seth
would.
was running so hard because he was scared to death of that chip at the start line. Because he hates spicy food to begin with. So this was his probably worst fear. And you framed him by letting Logan Rumsey race.
Hey, listen. To me,
I
think
in
it's
bad shape until I touched my eye. I got the crumb in it. That's when
Yes!
off the rail for me.
And that was my point. Was I kept telling you here, and Jay-Z is yelling at me to get out of the camera because I'm trying to convince you. Please, for the love of God, use the glove.
2 problems. It was hot, and a piece of crumb went into my eye. So then I couldn't
Wait,
see.
where's Heather and
Bad time.
Billy?
Seth's just hoping someone's going to take.
Billy, is he okay to eat this? I don't want to kill your kid. What's hot a chip?
It's a dad trying to get help. Bill's like, nah, sorry, bro.
He knew.
So this will also, at some point, some of this footage will end up on a YouTube video with Billy Dietrich. So make sure you check out Billy's, because we talked to Heather, we talked to Billy. Billy was recording Heather, and then Billy was recording Seth dying here. So at some point, some of this will end up on their YouTube channel as well.
Seth at this point says, at this point, right here, I am questioning every life decision I ever made. I thought he took it way better than Chris did. Chris took it very well here at first. Here's me trying to give. Chris would not take the damn glove.
The mouth was never the problem.
Jim, get out of the way. Jimmy,
he's so stupid.
The mouth is never the problem. It's when I touch my eyes, when I went.
Yes, and that was the point. That's why I kept telling you to use the glove.
That's why I went
You
full
could have
Zach
touched
Hampton.
your eye after you took the glove off. Done anything you wanted with your eye, dummy.
That's what full Zach
You
Hampton.
keep fighting this like you did it right. Like,
Oh shit!
This was a dumb decision to begin with. We're both dumb. Seth and I are dumb.
Oh, these guys.
Boy, I feel bad for your asshole.
Burp saying, I feel bad for your assholes.
World's hottest chip. Chris is going to play this off until he dies.
He's like, yeah, I'm fine.
I think it's what's happening today. I think it's finally making me die.
Give him. Anybody got milk? All right, Chris. So
Seth is already hurting.
turns out.
Yeah, Seth already immediately started hurting.
They talked all this shit for months. Logan Rumsey.
Dakota doing the interviews here with a Coors bottle. Shout out DK.
I'm like, DK, no one can hear you. They can barely hear me.
Nobody can even hear this.
And listen, we know Logan's a ripper, right? This might be his biggest career victory, no matter what he ends up going to do. Seth is dying right there.
He's like, oh no.
Yeah, nobody can hear
Full tears, and he had water going.
Billy's
everywhere.
filming Seth dying over
I
here.
think he went through 3 water bottles trying
Yeah,
to not
he was
die.
asking for so much water. So that was that. So we ended up ending the stream right after that. And
they kind of kicked us out in a hurry with the schedule change, so we had to kind of get wrapped up and rolling there.
Yeah. So what it didn't show then, we loaded up, went up to the campsite, and Chris is crying. Just face fully red. He was jacked.
I did this, and
yes.
it got a piece in my eye on top of the spice itself, so I could feel the piece rolling around in my eyelid.
And which is exactly why I told you to wear the glove. So maybe just listen to me when I tell you things for your own good.
For my own good would have been not letting you do the chip challenge thing in the first place.
But I felt like you took the spiciness at least in
Yeah, it wasn't
pretty good until you got it in your eye. And you were dying for like an hour, dude. Like it was
the
straight.
mouth was fine, all things considered. Unlike Seth, who was snot running and.
Seth says at this point I was dying inside, couldn't let the women see. Very, very smart. That's what Chris is trying to do. He was trying to play it off like.
Really let him run down once, Seth. You might as well just give it up.
And then he said he went through 3 waters before I hit sheets for milk. Very smart.
I liked my plan better. Make the pain go away.
And then Tenerelli, who was camping with us, says Chris then proceeded to drink his body weight in beer.
Actually, what solved it was the Jameson. That's when I think that's when I don't remember feeling burning. The Philip, I was never my lip had to cut in it from someone. Incident on Friday, so it actually sucked too. Punched me and broke my lip.
Oh yeah. Brad says, "I'm glad you touched your eye and not your pecker."
Yeah,
so,
that would have sucked a lot. So Ted really got lucky streaks. I got Coors Banquets. What the hell happened? Did the old switcheroo.
Pat Trace says to Seth, "Don't worry, they didn't see," meaning the women they watched Rumsey with. So that was awesome. We had so much fun. Just a great time. We appreciate everybody associated with the Chili Cook-Off for having us. We had such a blast. We will work on the audio stuff in the future here because we want to keep doing more stuff like this. We had a blast. So, yeah, it was great. A great time.
Yeah, all winter cool. To accept more applications for a foot race next year.
Great experience all the way around. Chili Cook-Off, man, what an event. They had over 20 chilies entered, tons of people walking around. The auction was cool. I got to hear every item bid because it was louder than us. And they were all going for like $1.65 each. So that was super exciting, I'm sure. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. But, what a cool event. I got to see the whole thing. It's usually most years, the one year I got there right at the very end and missed most of it. Rarely am I up there that early because I typically haven't camped for the Natty. Still didn't camp this time, but we got up there early enough. Shout out George Wood for bringing his sound equipment down.
Yes, thank you.
That was clutch for us. We needed that for sure. Learned a lot about what we can do. I didn't have any doubts about filling the time or having conversations or doing. We're good at bullshitting this through and not really having a plan. But we learned a lot too about what we want to do differently next time, and hopefully improve it for everybody. And thank you for everybody that did kind of hang out, watch, and saw us for the first time or big fans of ours and stop by to watch it or we're there for the chili and we happen to be there as a bonus. So because we certainly weren't the reason. We were just an extra part of the Chili Cook-Off. So shout out Beer Hill Gang for everything they do and the money they raised. And we had Wes on last week and he was a judge. We saw Aaron Raymer, Bert, Matt Campbell, a lot of big name judges, and they all came to a pretty overwhelming consensus for the win. So for the winner, so that was pretty cool. Ron Rutherford, Mama's Pizza. I saw Ron in the chat earlier. Put Cale Thomas in his car this weekend. Loved having Cale. Hopefully there's mutual interest to do more of that in the future. That'd be so cool. I'm a big Cale Thomas guy. I love Cale to death, and he's had a great season out there in Ohio and Illinois, Indiana area. He's stepping away from that 23 car to venture into other things next year. So it's great to have him in town. And Ron put up a lot of money toward the Chili Cook-Off winners share. So at Mama's Pizza Wellsville. So all the people that supported that was super, super fun and just a great event. And looking forward to next year already.
Yeah, me too. And I got a shout out Ron too because we ordered Mama's Pizza to our campsite Friday night and it was delicious. And that was pretty cool that they came and delivered it right to the campgrounds. Matt says there's 22 entrants for the Chili Cook-Off, more than last year. And even with, everything kind of got thrown off a little bit, just with timing wise, because of having to get out of there or opening the pits at 1. Originally it was going to go till till I think almost 1:30, but with everything having to get moved up, everybody did a great job of keeping everything moving, getting everything in, having a great time still, not feeling too rushed. Congrats to the winners of the cook-off and also the drivers who won contingency awards from the cook-off. I have to go back and look and see who they were. Find out real quick. I remember Williams Grove posting it earlier. I didn't mark it down. Yeah, so Landon Crawley picked up the Rookie of the Year, won $500. Jacob Allen picked up the first non-qualifier worth $1,000. And then Tyson Phipps put up an extra $500, so he ended up walking away with $1,500. And then Anthony Macri was the highest finishing PA Posse member and was awarded a free Hoosier right rear tire, all thanks to Bear Hill and that chili cook-off. So congratulations and good job. So and good job on just keeping the entire event moving. They did a fantastic job, great event, and we hope to be back next year. Any other thoughts from the cook-off before we just move on quick and wrap this up? Yes, so Lincoln. This is new, obviously. It was originally going to be the Selinsgrove weekend, both the 11th and the 12th. So Saturday now is just Lincoln with 410s, obviously, Board of Outlaws, with support with the Flying Iron Limited Stocks. $40, $45 day of for reserve, $35, $40 day of for general admission, $45 for pits. Pits are at 2, grandstands at 4, hot laps at 5:30, so a little bit of an earlier start, thanks to it being the fall. What are we expecting to see on Saturday?
More Outlaw
Well,
wins.
Oof.
I think gravel wins.
Is my mic okay? Is my sound
Yeah,
right?
you're good now, yeah.
Okay. This is going to be not nearly 56 cars. So I'm going to start there.
Mm-hmm.
High limit is out racing wherever they're racing. We have
I say 40.
0 of those. Yeah, I think you're in the low 40s if you hit 40. But I hope there's enough for a split field. That'd be fine. But I'm just going to be there for the limited stocks mostly. That's why I'm going. Can't wait to see them plow their way around Lincoln Speedway all night. So I'm excited for that.
That should be fun. I will not be there. I will be watching on Dirt Vision. I got a family engagement to be at, but yeah, just I'm excited for this. I'm glad Lincoln got this. We were talking, it would have been cool to see maybe Baps get another one too, but I'm just happy to see Lincoln get a weekend race. You know what I mean? Not having to just get a midweek race. I really wish that Baps and Lincoln could get on a regular basis, not a midweek race, maybe a weekend race somehow, if they could figure that out. That would be really fantastic. So I'm thinking it'll be a good turnout. Weather looks pretty good so far.
All right, that's what I was looking up right now.
76 and sunny so far. 76 degrees. If that place isn't packed, you're not a fan. I'm giving up the title of best fans in the country to California if they don't show up for this race. That's all I'm saying.
I will not be there or watching on Dirt Vision.
You're out. You're both dead to me.
Good.
Well, Chris doesn't watch races even when he's at the track, so.
Yeah, that's true. He does leave early.
Sometimes you just gotta run, man. You gotta be free.
All right, anyway, go back to where's he at? Santos. Hey, Williams Grove Album Santos. If you go to my WRT site now, there is a board and shot up. There's one so far. I know I did one earlier. You can't miss editing the pink car. So Vapor Trail picture, enter in turn 1. There may actually be 1 or 2 more, but I'm putting them up as I'm editing in batches of 10 or 20. They're going up. So night 1 photo album is created. Click on it. There's probably 100 in there so far. And I'm through like time trials. So it's going to take a while, but there is one up there now. So check it out.
Yeah, definitely go check them out. You got some banger pictures. You were there for like all the action, especially turns 3 and 4. It seemed like you were there for every wreck.
I was excited about what I got for the vapor trails, and then we had a daytime portion, and I'm just as excited to get to those. I cannot wait to get to the daytime stuff. I was excited about my vapor trail stuff, and I still am, and there's more that I got to get finished. But holy shit, I cannot wait to get to the daytime pictures and get them all done. I'm so
Oh,
hyped
yeah.
about it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Brad asked, when will we get Terrible's merch? We're going to work on that this winter. Probably have to do like a pre-order or something. We're working on it. We have some designs and stuff like that. We just got to coordinate it and get it ready. So
lots of designs, a lot of different color combinations, all just there. Kind of figure out what we want to do.
yes. Dirt Vision killed attendance. I did kind of have this thought. I don't know what you guys thought. Because the attendance on Saturday was still really, really, really good. But do we think maybe the $50 price tag kept some people away? Because it wasn't as packed as I expected it to be. It was packed. A lot of people there. But I remember not being able to move at the National Open a couple times. And it didn't seem quite like that on Saturday. But it was great attendance. So I'm not like trying to talk shit on it. But I do think maybe some people may have been deterred a little bit.
I don't know. It's hard to tell, but there are probably 2 people watching Critter tonight. I would say at least specifically for
Probably
Critter
like,
Dakota.
Probably like 3. Because now Dakota's
Okay.
watching.
Oh yeah, and Seth. So there's those 2. Dakota and Seth are 2.
Dakota and Seth are watching for you. There you go.
But I mean, I thought so with the money for the National Open, day of racing for Saturday at Lincoln's $40, and it's I don't know, it's only $10 less than the National Open for a lot less for the purse.
Shouldn't be. That's not relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why it's $50 though for the National Open. You have a $100,000 purse.
I don't know. There was a lot of people there.
There was a lot of people there. It just felt like compared to years past, it wasn't quite as much. But I mean, I'm talking maybe down 4 or 5%, maybe.
I'd like to know. I'd like to hear from Williams Grove. I know we never would, but I would love to hear the attendance numbers compared to other years. I think it'd be neat to know. I mean, they know to help themselves make business decisions, but I'd like to know because it seemed really freaking full.
Sam even says $50 a ticket is quite a bit, though. Again, nothing like NFL tickets, so at least it's not that bad. That's very true. And then there was a lot of whining about the admission price. That was something that was kind of the theme, but people always got to whine about something.
Same way in Eldora too.
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, so Lincoln this Saturday. I am looking for a Chase Dietz win. I think he had such a good weekend. Obviously, besides getting taken out by Sean Hansfield, he's just I don't know. Maybe it's just recency bias, but I think
For one posse, I'm going to go Freddie. It's Outlaws, but I'm going Freddie.
I can't. He hasn't been as good at Lincoln this year. And we saw what he just did against in the Natty. I mean, it just wasn't really a factor at all. So
I think Gravel's going to win, though.
If I had to pick a Outlaw,
no, Brad, I'm not picking Macri after what I just watched him do Saturday.
Macri, I think he has a better shot at Lincoln than he did Williams Grove.
I just don't want to do it because he's on my list right now.
I could see Macedo taking this one too because he's good at Lincoln. He has I remember him winning the All-Star race there against Kyle Larson years ago. He's just been good there ever since he started. Anytime he's run there, so he's definitely a guy that you need to watch for. Troy, for sure.
I will take the Outlaw. For me, would be Buddy. He's won at
Lincoln.
He's good at Lincoln. He's got a lot of laps at Lincoln, and he's good right now. So I'll take Buddy for the Outlaw, and for Posse, I will take Chase Dietz.
Yeah, let's go Chase Dietz. That would be a nice win for him. But get there. It's going to be a beautiful day. one of the last. I mean, yeah, we have what after this? I think Lincoln has one, maybe two more races.
They'll have
26.
this one and one more. This week and next week. The next week is potentially announcement coming from Lincoln about that event. But 410s, 358s is their championship night. They will crown the champions of both divisions on the 19th, I believe is the date. And then we're going to get some BAPS races going. So excited for those.
And the Bridgeport race, and then we're done.
And the Bridgeport race, yeah. So yeah, we're at the end of it here, but some good races still coming up, and hopefully we get some good weather here to get all these in. Yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, get to if you're able to get to Lincoln this weekend. If not, you could catch it on Dirt Vision as always. And then real quick, High Limit wraps up their season with 4 races this week. The mid-week series comes to an end at I-70 tomorrow. It was $20,000 to win, $2,000 to start. Pretty cool purse there. Lucas Oil Speedway on Wednesday, and then Texas two-step at Texas Motor Speedway to crown the champion. Brad Sweet has already clinched the regular championship for the for High Limit, but there's still battles going on for those charters and everything. So should be an interesting couple days. Hopefully to get all those in. I haven't looked at weather, but that would be that, and that would be the end of the High Limit season. So who knows where we see some of those High Limit guys? Maybe some of them come to PA. Maybe some of them are just done for the year. And then before the World Finals in November. Tyler did say, I did hear the support class on Saturday at Lincoln was limited to 36 cars.
Correct.
So
Lincoln just made a post about it, actually.
Okay. So that's good. And I agree. Fuck the Outlaws. And also fuck David Smith. Let's go then. I guess we'll wrap this up. Drink it and dump it.
Ooh.
You know the segment? Drink it to somebody you want to give a shout out to. Dump it to somebody that you want to give a shout out to, maybe for some other reason.
Dump it. I'm dumping it for Zach Hampton. Guy can't catch a break.
You're just taking that one.
Going right in. Okay.
Going right in there, babe.
Well, now who are you drinking it to?
Carson Macedo. Big win. Still chomping down, trying to take chunks out of that lead off David Gravel. Could be hard for him, but if you're going to do it, you got to make these big October charges. So,
yeah. Those are 2 good ones. I'm going to drink it. Man. I have a couple. I'm going to be a fanboy. I'm going to drink it to Brock Zierfoss. Had a pretty decent weekend and got the wing panel, got to meet him. Shout out to him. And then dump it to... I'm going to dump it to Darren Pittman. I really thought it was going to be the weekend. He looked really good on Friday, got the second in that feature. Then hits a tractor tire in his heat race and goes end over end. Luckily, he timed really well and got to start on the pole, the B main, but never really got to get up there and be a factor, obviously. So I'm going to dump it to Darren Pittman on kind of a missed opportunity. Hopefully he's back next year. Jay-Z?
I'm going to drink it to a little bit of an this one would be more of a kind of not an inside joke, but sort of our little crew. Drink it to our camping crew. Last camping event of the year. Jimmy, really shout out Jimmy and Chris, and these 2 guys are sort of our camping coordinators and getting sites and equipment and food and all this stuff. And I just sort of show up and eat all their shit. So shout out you guys. I'll drink it to you guys and appreciate you all being good hosts for inviting us and having us up there. I don't get to camp nearly as much with, unfortunately, all these critters I got running around at home, and things. But try to make it up there as much as I can. And I really enjoy the time up there with you guys and Jimmy and Cam and Chris and whoever shenanigans Chris is up to. Keeps me entertained for the weekends usually. So shout out to you guys who drink it to you. Chris, I'm actually not telling you to drink anymore. Don't drink it. So, dump it, man. This is a tough one. It's easy for the Zach Hampton one, but I can't because he never even had a chance to earn anything good before he ruined it all. So he showed up. I mean, he got here. Maybe that's why I could dump it, because he got all this way from Indiana and then wrecked 2 great race cars. But no, I'm out. Dump it's a tough one. Troy Wagaman, I think, just a tough weekend all around
Yeah.
for their expectations and what they kind of had going to the weekend. I think definitely they struggled a little bit and didn't nearly get to their own expectations, not just ours but their own. So I'll dump it to those guys, and they have a quick turnaround. Nothing heals better than a good run next weekend, so they got another chance at it coming up. They got more chances to win some stuff. So I think at the end of the day, we have to remember that that's a young team in a sense, and that's a young driver, and there's way better national opens ahead for that team and Troy himself. So shout out those guys, but tough weekend for them for sure.
Yeah, don't want to. It's a hard way to end the season for them, but they had a great season at Williams Grove. Had a great year overall, and I guess you're kind of seeing with them too what the struggles that, like, we talk about Freddie and Danny and all them having when the Outlaws come to town. It ain't easy, especially for these big races. So nothing to hang their head on. But yeah, tough weekend for them. Before we get into the comment section here of all your drink it and dump it, I want to give one more good dump it or drink it, to Vertical for Life, preventing veteran suicide one beat at a time. Shout out to Brad Weatherby and them. Very good cause, helping prevent veteran suicide through music. And definitely go and check them out. Here's a QR code. Go follow them on Facebook. They do a lot of really great things, teaming up with other foundations too, and everything to kind of help, and for a really great cause to help all of our service members that help protect this country. So shout out to them. Let's get into quite a few drinking and dump it's in here. Brittany Perigo. Drink it to Chase Dietz and Briggs Danner for racing Williams Grove on Saturday and Terre Haute on Sunday. Yeah, going all the way out there for the Silver Crown race last night, where Logan Seavey got the win. And dump it to Chris Lynn's performance in the foot race. Can agree. All that height. Listen, I want to know, you went and changed your shoes, which you had nice Air Force Ones on.
Right.
And then you went and changed into these running shoes. Why didn't you change from jeans?
Seth was wearing jeans.
So you didn't want the advantage at all. You had the edge advantage. You didn't want the.
It was going to need more than shorts to make this old dog go fast, Jimmy.
Seth ran in like work boots and jeans.
Right. Don't worry. October 26th. Sounds like there's another race happening.
Jesus.
Stay tuned.
Oh boy. Brad Weatherby says, drink it to T22, thank you, man, and dump it to Hampton. Yeah, Zach Hampton, rough weekend, man. Marie Beasley, drink it to Bobby Johnson. Donate a cooler of beef to raise money for Chase Johnson. That was cool. Dump it for Shelton Honshield for dumping Chase Dietz. Yeah, that's a good one. Drink it to Cale Thomas to Samuel Greenwald. Dump it for Stutz and that wreck. That was a tough wreck. Santos, drink it to Williams Grove for making it a great event Saturday with the Williams Grove double. And we had 2 badass features on Saturday. Dump it to Posse in general. Did not show up this weekend outside of Macri and Dietz, DD, Freddie, Borden, and others just struggled all weekend. Can confirm. It's just these Outlaw guys are good, especially when it's time trial shows. I mean, let's be real, especially on Friday night. Your top 20, 30 guys are probably separated by like 2 or 3 tenths. It was tough. It was tough to try to find that little edge. Tyler, drink it. Whole atmosphere of Williams Grove National Open was great this year, plus Kaylee Bryson winning the G2 IMSA Championship in Virginia. Did not know that. Shout out. Dump it all the tore up stuff at Williams Grove and Talladega this weekend. Biggest wreck in Cup Series history was yesterday at Talladega. Randy says, drink it. Davenport with a big win in the Pittsburgh Lucas Oil late model race. Dump it to the fog at Williams Grove. Mandy, drink a chili cook-off, the interviews and the broadcast Saturday. Macedo, the foot race and Rumsey winning. Keg Cook and Keg Kickball. I didn't make it over this year to go check that out.
We had bad experiences there.
Yeah.
We don't go back.
Having flashbacks to Nam. Didn't want any more broken bones. But I heard PA won, so shout out. Fuck Maryland. Dump it to too many junk cars and Hampton Geo going out and over. Fog, pickle flavored chili, and the broadcast audio on Saturday. Yes. Thank you. We will work on that. Santos. Honorable drink it mentioned. Shout out to TJ and crew for hustling to get the spare car and then tear it down and change over to their Williams Grove setup since it was a Port Royal car. Amy says, drink it to Deeps, dump it to Macri. Brad says, I appreciate you guys having us out camping. Chuck, Roush, and I appreciate it. Yeah, we had them coming up, and they hung out for quite a bit. It was cool to get to know Brad a little bit more. We've known him. You know, he's in chat every week, and we talked to him a little bit here and there, but we really got to hang out with him a lot on Friday. It was a good time. Billy says, eating that chip was hard to watch.
Billy, eating that chip was hard. You should try that.
Yeah, Casey was. Yeah, time trials were separated by hundreds. Like it was so tight. Luke Ritt says, dump it to the fog. Brad Faria says, I'm drinking it to Chris, going for it and taking the punishment. Dumping it for y'all, not letting him let it live it down. Nah, you know. Listen, when Chris has been almost weekly for months calling out Seth for this foot race since like April, May?
Yeah, I'll do it again.
That's right, I'll do it again.
We're the bad guys. Who's the dumb one here? Let's be honest. We're the bad guys. He earned it.
I'm just glad there's people now standing up against my bullies for me.
Yes. I'm glad Brad Weatherby says he brought it on himself, and that is true. Billy says, drink it to my wife for being in the show. Yeah, shout out. That was cool. It was cool. We had the whole Dietrich clan on at one point. It's pretty cool. And then dump it to Seth Dietrich.
All the best Dietrichs, by the way.
And then Tenerelli says, drink it to Brother Teresa. That Brother Teresa shirt that our buddy that was camping with us had on in sports was a big hit. Everybody kept it's a cool. It looks like Mother Teresa. It's like a silhouette of Mother Teresa, but it had Hulk Hogan's face on it. It says Brother Teresa under it. It's just funny. It's a great shirt. Great times. I'm a little sad that it's the last camping excursion of the year, probably. For sure, like big one. The only other one I could think of is maybe if I do Bridgeport or something. I know Babs is having stuff, but I don't know if I'm going to camp out for any of those. But I do hope it's the last time I tent camp. I'm hoping to have a camper for next year. So I don't have it would make the setup and the tear down and the day or two after, I'm still cleaning stuff up for that. I was unloading from my truck. Make it so much better. I can't. So hopefully that's going to be something I could do in the winter. Anything else before we get going? Thanks everybody for tuning in, as always. Thank you guys. JC, Chris, thank you guys for always being here, having a great show.
Yeah, we're mostly here, you know.
So, Lincoln this weekend, guys. If you guys can make it, go check it out. And we will see you guys here next week.